Well, I hope everyone is having a good Sunday afternoon. I am having a good Sunday afternoon. Certainly nothing to complain about. So, today, kind of lazy day. I got some housework planned for later, and that's kind of how things are going to go for me in game too. We're going to take care of some stuff that we know we have to take care of that may not necessarily be fun or exciting. So, we're going to start that out by doing Chat Garant and Octavine again. Those are a couple of events that are just really easy ways to potentially generate a little bit of income if we have some good luck. Generate a little bit of income under any circumstances just because the number drops and so forth. Um, and then from there, we'll probably go ahead, since it's just the one instance that's left, if I remember correctly, finish up Season 4, Chapter 3, and then go into uh, some of the farming that just needs to be done. So we'll hit Um, Bitterfrost Frontier, we'll take care of that. We'll go to Sandswept Isles, we'll take care of that. Um, we will maybe go to Silverwaste in the hopes of getting some mastery points, or maybe we'll just go into some Path of Fire maps because we know we need quite a few trade contracts to get Jackal, and I would like to get Jackal. So, a number of things, none of which is particularly flashy or exciting, but all of which stuff that needs to be done to advance our account and to reach the goals that we want to reach. Did already knock out dailies today, so let's see. It's probably going to end up being a little bit close. Let's see, what are we at now? 22. So yeah, it's going to be real close. We may or may not get it. I think we're getting less than 1% per second. Nah, we're not. We're right about 1% per second, so there we go. Nice. Okay. We may actually capture a fail on stream today. Let's see. South is going to go ahead and do it. They just went ahead. So I guess yeah, and North was stopped short because they were going to get stopped short. We may as well, because South and East are already done. So we might as well do it. So that when all the Octavines regain their health, because I feel like they're going to, unless North was like kind of engaged in some shenanigans, North is going to fail. They did not demonstrate the ability to drop stacks very quickly. A whole bunch of people headed to North. Oh, wait. I take it back. They drop stacks the second time significantly faster. So what it may be, North sometimes gets like weird where the vines, they don't go down the way they're supposed to. Oh, are they just starting the meta event? Man, I feel I had no real motivation or desire to do this meta event today. Wanted to get that last instance taken care of and then kind of do some stuff that we know we need to get taken care of. But I feel like it would be pretty stupid to not do it. If the champions for this phase were to drop loot, because I'm pretty sure they don't, if people would intentionally like try not to claim this circle to farm those champions. And it reminded me of the absolute disaster that was Coiled Watch during Season 2? That's Season 2, right? Yes, Season 2. Where there was an event that you need to successfully complete to advance the story. So this wasn't even like an achievement to get a certain skin or something like that. This was to advance the story. You needed to complete this event successfully. However, if a large group I don't know what the minimum number of people was. Let's say 40 people. Yeah, that's me speculating. If a large group of people were present for the event, it would spawn a number of champions, and it was a meaningful number. It was like 4 or 5. The event, if you failed the event at that point, it would respawn there in a relatively short period of time. If you succeeded at the event, you had to wait for the entire chain to progress and then start again for that event to come around again. So by failing the event, it was incredibly, well, not incredibly, it was significantly profitable. It was certainly farmable to fail the event. So you had these huge groups of people, 40 or 50 players hanging around with the express intentions of failing this event, and then you had 4 or 5 players there, because this wasn't happening in the first week or two of the story, because there were enough people who wanted to finish the story that, wasn't quite a problem. But soon, within a couple weeks, you would have a large number of folks failing the event and a small number of people trying to complete it, and the two groups were getting really, really frustrated with each other. And I think it's pretty understandable why the people who are trying to complete the story were getting so frustrated. The fact that it was required, that event was required for story completion, clearly meant that the intention of the studio, the way things should quote unquote should go, was for the event to be completed. And yet, you had a large group of players, and so it's not like a large percentage of the playing population was part of the problem. That's not the case at all. It was a large group of players in terms of map population, 40 or 50, whatever the case may be. But the same 40 or 50, like 16, 17, 18 hours out of the day, causing a lot of trouble for everyone else. Really, really ugly situation, in my opinion, and a very preventable situation. And so when I look at, like, the, we look at, like, champs. Is that a champ? That's better. Definitely not a champ. But when you look at, like, champs that spawn an event like this, generally you'll see them not drop loot. Now, Dragon Stands doesn't work that way. In Dragon Stand, they do drop loot. But in Dragon Stand, that event is somewhat linear in nature. So it's less of an issue there. And there's no benefit. I guess there's no benefit in failing in Dragon Stand, so that's noted, right? If there was benefit in failing Dragon Stand, I'm sure people would. And that's the root of the issue. It should never be beneficial to fail. Does anyone ever stop to consider, like, Timey's mental state? Season 2 through all the way up through End of Dragons, our little motley crew has always bothered me a little bit, in that when we meet them all back in Season 1, Season 2, they're all portrayed as being quite young. With the possible exception of Marjorie, but Bram is, in theory, pretty young. In fact, I believe he is referred to at one point by another Norn as being juvenile to some degree. Timey is apparently a kid. She's still in school. She is absent from school when she is doing stuff with us, at least in Season 1, Season 2. And Flump makes a point of mentioning that.
Cannot be rushed.
And even Casimir, I don't think the intention is for us to perceive Casimir as like quote unquote juvenile, but Casimir is also supposed to be quite young. Why are we bringing all these young people with us, like, into mortal danger and committing acts of violence? Like, honestly, the level of, you know, the absolute lack of personal responsibility on the part of the commander is really astounding if you take a hard look at the story. Really horrible person.
The gate awaits.
That's quite a noise. That dude makes a real noise when he dies. Oh, Canuck. Oh, Canuck.
We can't stay here. We'll be whittled away to sawdust. Commander.
At that moment, I really like Canuck. If for no other reason than the fact that he makes the commander's life more difficult.
I'm going after him. Everyone fall back to Ritlock's position.
Horrific tactical decision. Horrific. I've seen this happen in Afghanistan. Where someone's like, I'm going to go do this thing and take off from the group. I got it, guys. Trust me. And in that case, it was the person in a leadership position who was doing it in the first place. Man, you know, like, some people's children. Tell you what. But here we lose two people. Bram makes a bad decision, the commander makes a worse decision by chasing him. Not that finding the sewer path here... Now, also, if we're going to go fully down the military road, if we just want to go bananas on, like, military logic, the fact that there was always, like, this gaping open back door into Joko's...
That was reckless, Bram.
Well, it was pretty reckless of you to follow, Commander.
And... let's go find
And then we
Joko.
don't hold him responsible on top of it.
That's what I thought.
Why did we not recce this place well enough to know that this was here in the first place? So we have a number of failures here. Tactical failures, but also like planning failures that we didn't even know this was here. So this, however, like, this is great. Like,
Is that me?
I really,
Looks just like you.
I like this a
Twin.
lot.
Scratch that. You're a
Didn't
triplet.
think so.
No, wait. A quadruplet?
Super cool, super entertaining. That we have, and more so like right around the corner here. Let's see, right up here. We get to the torture chamber.
What the? They're all
So by and large,
I know Joko's sick.
ArenaNet like really
I didn't
avoids
realize
this
he
kind of
was
thing.
obsessed.
Not sure what was
My enemies
different
burned me in effigy, but
about
I've never
this chapter
inspired
that they
this
decided to
level
go ahead and wade into
of
this,
whatever
but
this is.
this is that darkness I was talking about. That, like, I mean, like, the rack is like a really horrific thing, right?
Looks like I died painfully.
And we're looking at like a
Over.
fire.
and
what,
over.
what is, you know, here's more of the rack. Yeah, what is some of this other stuff that's going on here?
Sort
Like,
of mind comes up with crazy stuff like this.
these are like medieval torture devices. Like, I assume, like, is
Man,
that,
Take a look at this.
is this supposed to be like hot tar and then the head is there and the rest of the body submerged in hot tar? What is going on here?
Rain of some kind.
So the
An ancient skill signet.
it's not unusual for ArenaNet to like suggest something like this, but to visually show it is like super unusual for them.
It's all an illusion.
And we hear some screams in the background and
signet
stuff.
ring just
So now
froze.
we see these are actually just like
Oh, they're
random
spirits. They're just
innocent
regular dead
people.
I mean,
Now, if this were anything in the Elder Scrolls series, this would not be weird at all, right?
No,
Like,
this
oh
is-
yeah,
this-
you see like dungeons like this all the time in that series.
Look over here.
It's so weird what this studio has like sensitivities to and what they don't.
this cannot be the end.
All right. So here's Joko. He collapses,
You
and when I do my story playthrough,
killed him.
man, I am gonna have a lot to talk about here.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Because we are real close to like real fun stuff, and then as usual, ArenaNet fumbles the football.
The rumors of my immortality are drastically understated. Oh, Commander, you look so disappointed, so impotent. I feel for you. I really do. But let's be honest. You knew in your heart. Fear not. The world will not forget you. The scars you've gouged into it spell out your name for all to see. I confess I was happy to take credit for your victories. But did you ever stop to wonder what that says about you? That so many bought what I was selling. They call me a monster, and you a hero. The world expects Palau Joko to dare to throw reality into chaos. But surely, no mortal would be so monumentally stupid as to destroy a dragon, the life force of this world. Let alone two, and a god to boot. Perhaps they will finally thank me for luring you to me, so that I may save the world from you. And once you're gone, everyone will flock to my embrace. They will all love me, Palawa Ignatius.
And so we have, simultaneously, probably the best dialogue ArenaNet has had at any point in the Guild Wars 2 story. And
Maureen,
the worst
done.
narrative writing, the worst story writing, or some of the worst. I still think Lazarus being Joko, or Lazarus being Balthazar, might be the worst, but this has got to be right there with it. Everything that they just showed us, again, with if you go with Sinister Joko versus Campy Joko, you have a foe that will carry you for an entire expansion or an entire Living World season. And they squander that in one chapter and then end it with this Deus Ex Machina nonsense. At no point do we see Irene during this chapter. We never see her during the chapter. I guess she flew in through a window. We have two of them, although that's not the direction she came from.
Tell everyone to give the Awakened a wide berth.
In the cutscene, it appears she comes from this pipe or something. It comes flying in from nowhere and gobbles him up. By the way, the stasis that he held us in here, that Bram knocked us out of, which he does not use in the fight, both the commander and Bram are held in it while he's talking. So all kinds of just disastrous problems with it. You know, like I said, they just fumbled the football. It's like they were handed the ball on the 5-yard line and no tacklers were between them and the end zone, and then they just put it on the ground. Tremendously frustrated. As much as I enjoy the game, like little moments like this just kill me because they can't. Is it Gorik's still likable here? They can do good things, but Gorik's funny. But you know what a disaster. And I remember the very first time I saw that, I was so happy when Joko got back up because I was confident that Joko was going to be our adversary through the rest of the Living World season, and I was pretty happy with that. I felt like that was going to lead to a lot of good stuff, and they were going to go positive directions with that. Not positive in terms of like the world interior, but in terms of their ability to craft a story and take the player, player being us, take the gamer through the crappy commander for a real adventure, and we were going to have a lot of fun. And instead we are immediately going to turn right back around and pay attention to Kalkatoric, because all of our Joko problems were just solved by Arene eating dinner. Real bad. It's like they let AFK farmers write their narrative. Yeah, between me and him, we're burning through it pretty quick. Alright, tell me we got some. 2. We got 2. What do we got over here? There we go. So these raiding parties, if I manage to not kill myself, which is a genuine concern, but if I can avoid killing myself by just doing basically what I just did there, then it's a very easy way of getting the trade contract. The big drawn out like fancy events are not what we want right now. What we want are events that take, moments. There, we got 3 more. Fortunately, we can just do big spike of damage like that. We got it. Alright, give me 1. 8. So that's how I accumulate so many on some of my other accounts, is the hero points. Because I try to get all the elite specs on all my tunes across all my accounts. So some of the currencies and stuff like really pile up for me, which is nice. That's good. That's what I want, right? Okay. Let's call it a day right here. So, wrapping up for today, what have we accomplished? Well, we are now up to 67 in mastery, and that's because we've added, let's see, what did we add today? Skimmer, we got Ride the Wind. What else did we add today? We also added gliding, lean techniques. Adding those 2 things brought us up to 67. We did a whole lot of just farming dumb things which needed to be done. So we farmed more difluoride because we're working on getting earrings from that map. We farmed more winter berries, which you can't see here because we're still working on filling up the bank, never mind our inventory on that. And that's going to be to pursue a back piece from that map. It's a horribly ugly back piece, but we need an ascendant back piece. And then we were farming trade contracts. So we're up to 157. We need 200 to get Jackal. Jackal's also going to take away 20 of our gold, which is going to bring us back under the 150, which remember is our target for when all's said and done. But altogether, we did some much needed farming of stuff. Yeah, man, I'll help you. And it's not that like I got like a whole bunch of joy out of that. It just, the time is going to come when we're going to have to do those things. So that's what we did. Additionally, season 4, we finished the 3rd chapter. So when we get started, so what we're going to do before we start the 4th chapter, though, which is Jahai. Before we go to Jahai, what we are going to do is we are going to finish cracking the ice, because I want the achievements from that map so that I can get just a lump of 250 winter berries, which is going to help us a lot in terms of chasing that back piece, that ascendant back piece. So that's what we got coming up, and that's what we've accomplished thus far. Total time in the game, 56 hours, 5 minutes. So we're right at 56 hours. I feel pretty good about where we're at. That number might be a little bit different next time, if I do some dailies between now and then. But as will our gold. Hopefully next time I stream and record, this is going to be slightly higher because I'll do dailies once or twice between now and then. But between now and then, I hope things go well for you. I hope things go well for me, because I don't like it when things go bad for me. And we'll catch up next time. Later.